chemtrails. Well, I've known about chemtrails for a while. It's pretty obvious up there, but I was talking to my friend and his mother actually the other day, sometime last week, and a theory came to mind regarding chemtrails and what they actually are and the signs and whatever. So here's me telling you what I believe the chemtrails are, and you know, whatever. So chemtrails. All right, so I'm gonna reference a lot of movies and TV shows because, you know, they put a lot of clues and you know, stuff in the movies. One especially is Transformers, the last one. What is so amazing about Transformers is that when they finally met, the hell is his name? I forgot what his name was. But when they finally met basically he was like a Reaper or a Repo Man. But when they finally met him and spoke to him, he basically laughed at them and told them that you actually think you were born. And he's like, no, you weren't born, just like everything else in the universe. You were made. There is a creator, and they made you. And he was there to send there to bring them back. I reference that because if you notice in all alien type movies, or you know, any kind of alien movies, and even mechanical type movies like the Transformers, which they ended up being aliens, the alien always come to Earth and they start terraforming so that they'll be able to breathe and live in our atmosphere. So when I brought that up to my friend the other day, all of a sudden I got a flash of chemtrails, and it's like, wait, well, why would they need the chemtrails, which are basically chemicals they're spraying in the sky to affect us in some way? And it goes, you know, I started thinking like, well, what if, you know, these people are the aliens and they're using chemtrails as, you know, a way of terraforming and making it easier for them to live and breathe in this atmosphere, and which in turn is going to leave us Earthicans, or whatever you want to call it, you know, not being able to breathe here. If you see most old people nowadays, they have to walk around with oxygen. They can't breathe. Or even like kids today are being born, every freaking kid is being born with, you know, asthma or some kind of breathing issue, emphysema, something. You shouldn't have a breathing issue if you're breathing pure oxygen, which, you know, air is not pure oxygen. It's oxygen is a very small part of it, and the rest of it is bullshit that tears you up from the inside. And it's causing our babies to be born with all kind of breathing issues, and our old people to have breathing issues. So that's my thought. I'm like, well, what if the chemtrails are actually their way of terraforming and making it more livable and breathable for them, while, you know, killing us in the process? And it really like hit me that day, because I'm like, I mean, with the chemtrails, like, you can't really, like, what is your plan? But now I see it, and I really do have a strong belief in that, because they wouldn't put in every single alien movie they're terraforming, because he can't breathe our air and they cannot survive. Every single movie, even freaking Superman, you know, what's his name? I forgot his name. I'm terrible with names. What the hell is his name? Whatever. He yeah, he deployed the world engine to start terraforming and making it better, because they can breathe here. The first Transformers, they should, well, not the first, the last one, when they were showing the dinosaurs, they showed that they sprayed some kind of mechanical bug and killed off all the regular dinosaurs so that they can breathe their life form on this planet. Every alien movie, and they're gonna suffocate us. Probably in about 50 to 100 years, we're gonna have, not even, I doubt 50, because you see how quick things can change. We went from having cell phones, you know, in the 90s, they first, I think it was early 90s or late 80s, they started coming, these big, huge, gigantic, you know, house phones that you know, they're bigger than house phones, and now they're like tiny, and it's gotten so far. So just imagine 50 years in their plan, and trying to suffocate us. They're gonna be able to do it. And one thing too, these children's movies, especially Dr. Seuss movies, you really need to pay attention, because they tell so much truth. They tell so much freaking truth. It's ridiculous. One of my favorite is the Lorax. If you've never seen the Lorax, I suggest you go out and buy it right now, because there is so much, you know, information in it. So let me just tell you about it. One kid, he had a dream of, you know, something he invented called a Thanid, which is like a wrap where it can do like 1,000,001 things. So in order to make his Thanids, he had to cut down all the trees. And the Lorax is actually what they say is the spirit of the forest, and he's supposed to protect the forest. So when this kid starts chopping down all the trees, he warned him. He's saying, you don't have to chop them, you can just pick them. So now his greedy family comes into town, and he's like, who wants to waste time picking the leaves? Just chop the trees down. So he's getting bigger. People are buying his Thanid, and they want more, and they end up chopping down every single tree in the forest. So here comes I forgot what his name is. He turned into like the mayor of the city. Everybody had to live in this fake makeshift city, and they had to basically buy air. They had fake trees, fake lawns, fake everything, because they could not find any seeds to grow and to grow back their trees. And without trees or greenery, we don't have oxygen. So now this guy is here selling people oxygen, and that's what they're doing here now. So after I saw that movie, I'm like, wait, you know, I think we grew up on Dr. Seuss. We knew Dr. Seuss, but as children, we never really paid attention to any kind of message, you know, in these children's stories. So looking at the Lorax, you know, and like I said, it's one of my favorite movies. Looking at it and looking at the message behind it, it's like, well, damn, that is where we're headed. You know, soon enough, we're gonna have to buy oxygen. Look at all the old people, you know, walking around with oxygen tanks, and, you know, not able to breathe the regular air, because it's just not good for them. And that is where we're headed. Even one story, I don't remember what story it is of his. Basically, he's talking about, you know, I think he was talking about abortion, because a line goes, a person is a person no matter how small. So, you know, with all the pro-lifers and pro-choicers and all that crap going on, and to, you know, him to, what I really admired about him is that he was able to put such a strong, meaningful message in these, you know, kid stories, and he's able to weave these ways of thought or this thinking into little children, and just in the way that he is able to put it in his books or movies or whatever. And that is what I really admired about him. And now they have a Rosetta Stone, which is like a translation thing, or you learn languages, or something teaches you a new language. But that was actually one of his pen names, which was Rosetta Stone. So I'm not sure if the whole idea of this language learning was his or not, but Rosetta Stone was actually one of Dr. Seuss's pen names, which also Dr. Seuss is, and he had a few. But yeah, he's able to put these strong meanings in his stories, and that I really admired about him. But yeah, you really have to pick. When they come out with these huge blockbuster sci-fi movies, they give you, these are the directors, like not even the directors, whoever wrote it, whoever put everything together, this is their way of telling you what is going on and what they're going to do, what their plan is, and the truth behind everything. But we're so stupid, we don't pick up on these messages, and we just look at it as a good movie, and we're not picking up on what they're telling us. And when, you know, anybody else mentions it, you're like, dude, it's just a movie, it's not that serious. Yes, it is that serious, because it's not just a movie. When all the movies are telling you the same freaking thing, you really need to listen to it and not be so stupid. Basically, you know, you have to. This is what I tell everybody: pay attention to what these movies are telling you, because there's actually meaning behind it. The new one that came out, the of Gods and Kings, or Kings and whatever, the Egypt movies. The Egypt movie that came out in in February. I didn't see it because I was boycotting it, because we freaking know ain't no white folks in Egypt, you know, back in those times. So if they make movies in Greece in 14 or 1500, or in the Alamo around that time, they don't have any black folks in those movies, because they want to be, you know, historically correct or whatever. But it's a bunch of bullshit, because they don't expect us to be in Alamo movies or westerns, but yet you want to be in our Egypt? No, you don't get to do that. That's thievery, and that's a lie, and I don't appreciate that. But they still hide truths in there. Like, people are trying to figure out, you know, flat earth and the sun and everything, but in that movie clearly shows a rim, you know, on the earth. So it's like, okay, well, that proves it. There's not, you know, this going on. It's a rim. And also it shows the sun reflecting off the clouds to really show that the sun isn't that far. It's actually, you know, closer than what we believe, or what we've been taught to believe. Which I do believe it is. It's pretty close. I do believe it's closer than we think, because, and I was talking to someone the other day, and yeah, he was talking about a supernova, and I was like, well, what is a supernova? He's like, oh, that's when a star is, you know, dies and explodes. And it was like, oh, the sun's about to die and turn into one pretty soon. I'm like, well, how the hell do you know that? He's like, well, that's what they say. I'm like, okay, they can't really say stuff like that, because for one, they're not even apt enough to go past our atmosphere. They know that they cannot go to these other planets, because, you know, nothing we have at this moment, and no technology we have, can actually go forth to another planet, or even past our own atmosphere, for one. And two, even if they were, they can't even get, you know, close enough to the sun to even be able to study it. And three, they haven't been around long enough to see another sun explode to say, okay, well, it's 3,000 years later, this sun is gonna explode. you know? So there's no way. These freaking astronomers, these astrologers, these bullshit ass star studying, planet studying, space studying, astronaut bullshit people don't know shit. They only work on theories. That's why they call it a theory, because legally you can't say it's a fact without any proof. So when you're saying, oh, the Big Bang Theory, is because there's no proof at all. There's no proof of anything. They have no fucking proof. And the fact that they're teaching us this bullshit, knowing that they have no proof, whether it's true or not, is just some more bullshit. And it's not right for them to teach that. And they pay astronauts a lot of fucking money to do absolutely nothing. Because what the hell do? They lie about going out into space, and they just collect a big check. That's it. They need to give that money to teachers. They need to pay cops better. Because oh my god, teachers are the most, and cops are the most underrated profession. Yeah, we have bad cops, but still, they put their lives on the line for, in some places, less than $20,000 a year, and they don't get a good pay until they retire. So you're telling me I risk my life for $20,000 a year, but you pay me once I retire $60,000+ a year? That makes no absolute fucking sense. And then the teachers make little money. They get zero support. They basically mold our children, and they still have to pay for supplies. One, they need more money. Two, the state needs to pay for supplies. Because all the money we give to lottery is supposedly supposed to go to schools and teachers and blah blah blah, but obviously they don't if the teachers have to spend their own money. And what else? Yeah, they need more money. They teach our kids like every fucking thing. They teach our kids to spell their names, to count, to tie their shoes, their ABCs, everything. And they're free babysitters for half the day. So it's like they deserve at least twice of what they're making, at least. Plus, with the requirements so high to be a teacher, it's ridiculous. And then all that money they have to pay back, and barely making enough to, no, it's not right.